Hello, welcome to another episode of our speedrun against Zugzwang, rated 1078. Okay, we're supposed to be playing the Pirc, so let's do that. Let's develop a knight and attack his pawn. He defends. Now, we could Philidor it with e5, but that's not the speedrun, so we'll go g6. A more, what's the word? Provoking move, inviting your opponent to attack you. So, white develops his knight. We'll just fianchetto. This knight development means he can't push f3 or f4, so it's a non-threatening setup. It's not one of the more aggressive ones. And as usual, the lower rated players love pushing e5 very early. But let's see. If we take, well, if he takes this way, there's the queen trade. If he takes this way, I mean, I don't want to get rid of my d-pawn if he takes with the knight. So in that case, I'm going to just add attackers by removing my knight backwards. And this one move adds 2 attackers. In chess, people think that if it's one, if something's attacked 3 times and defended once, they can't do anything about it, but that's not true. You can add not only 2 defenders in one move, you could add 3 defenders in one move, maybe even 4. Yeah, you could even add 4 defenders in one move. If you have an Alekhine's gun with a knight in the way and you move it out with a triple discovery and the knight attacks, that's 4 attackers in one move. So use all your resources. That's why X-rays are good. So now we move back, and what happens? If he takes, our bishop's just strong, and we get to recapture. We still have our d-pawn controlling the e5 square. And now we have a great position with a powerful bishop, and where does center go, right? So he develops his bishop, pins the knight, but free to castle. He trades it for no reason, so let's recapture with our bishop, which is now developed. This pawn is a slight weakness. We can target it with natural moves. Knight out, queen out. But he develops his bishop targeting the e7 point. I'm going to throw in the free improving move h6, just seeing what the bishop wants. Okay, so now he goes to a different diagonal, which does even less. It makes less sense. So I'm just going to develop my knight, my last minor piece, towards the center, and see what he does. I already prefer black with the bishop pair. He lifts the queen, potentially long castling. Stares a little bit at my king, but not a thing because I can always put this here. I also can put this here. So he's walking into stuff. I think I'm just going to develop my last piece to connect the rooks. It's complete development. It comes with a double attack, a double threat. It triple hits the pawns. He defends the pawn a 3rd time and defends the b pawn, but long castles directly into my queen, the semi-open c-file, my bishop, which almost coordinates. Probably not a good idea. So now we're definitely going to attack his king, and he's going to be toast. So we have this move. We have rook to the c-file. We have knight b4. So first, let's improve the bishop for free. Or do we want to do the knight, and then wherever he moves his queen? Probably not ready for the knight. So bishop or rook? Let's see where he puts his queen. We'll just improve the bishop for free. We could swing the rook over and sack it for the knight. Just get rid of that guy. His queen's also one of the 3 defenders of the pawn. So maybe he undefends the pawn. I want to checkmate this guy. We have really good coordination opportunities here. So he moves his knight and counterattacks our queen. So by this calculation, we get a queen, he gets a queen. We get a knight, he gets a bishop. We get a pawn threatening a back rank damage. Let's say he just lifts his king. We get at least another pawn. Also maybe some knight moves. I mean, it's definitely good for us. But we're hitting his queen, so what if we just move our queen and hit the knight? We're attacking knight and queen. Queen can't queen trade without losing the knight. If he moves the knight anywhere, he loses the queen. He can move the queen and defend the knight here and here. Which looks terrible. Go for the 2 pawns or just... I want to keep my queen maybe. Let's go here and just test him. You could have gone for the other line, but I kind of like this one. I want to keep more play, more dynamic stuff against this king. I just need a rook on the c file and it should be game over real quickly. Doesn't matter which rook you put. It's not something to stress about here. You can sack any rook on the c2 square. Because then you can bring the other one in with tempo down the open file. And with the bishop and the queen and the other bishop, you should have checkmate stuff. So he moves the queen here, which attacks and threatens nothing. It does defend the knight, but it walks into this. But then my knight hangs. But then his knight hangs with serious threats. So he might think like, ooh, I get the knight, but it's really bad. I also have knight b5, knight b4 I mean, double attacking the pawn and clearing the way for the c file. I guess he has to go, I don't know, c3. It's good also because then I can play b5 and just outright win the knight, I guess. I mean, right now the knight's hanging because of interference, so that's interesting. But I'm really doing this because I want a rook on the c file, and everything coordinates here. It's not even really about the knight. I want to checkmate this guy. If he does something about the knight, the rook coming here is deadly. What is this? He ignores everything in the position and goes pawn hunting. Totally missing the rook here, totally missing his knight hanging. Okay, so let's swing in the rook. And threaten some checkmate patterns. Instead of taking the knight. It's a free improving move. And you can see how he's developed, right? He has all his minor pieces out, 2 rooks down the central files, and a queen out, right? So you could say he's fully developed and he's active, but it's all kind of general and aimless development. It's just your pieces are out. But notice how my pieces are specifically targeting and pinpoint precision 1 square. And so that's the difference. That's the coordination difference. So he moves the queen here, which does defend the knight. But I really wasn't going for the knight. We have a cool move here. Check. Kind of forcing the queen to take. Then check. And here. Maybe you have some stuff there. But there's also just rook takes. So let's do that. Rook takes with check. He can move his king or sack the queen. but we still have another rook to swing over, and the knight would be hanging if he sacks his queen. But if he moves his king, he's walking into discoveries, and that's not really any better. So you immediately lose the queen. Is there better? Double check here. Check. He can interpose 1,000 ways. Let's just take the queen. Maybe he'll resign. So we just discover a check with the bishop while we snatch the rook. Snatch the queen. He takes, but this is covered. So there's some mating possibilities. How do we do it? I want to sack my queen, but then I need my rook and that to deliver checkmate. So let's bring in the rook. Well, let's just go b5 and maybe we could do that checkmate. It's faster. Because the rook is 1, 2, 3 moves, but the pawn is 1, 2, I guess it's still 3 moves. But this one I guess is cooler. Pawn capture discovery checkmate. You don't see that often. And our beautifully strong bishop has done actual nothing at the end of the day because we all targeted this light square. But it tied down his pieces to the defense of the center, which allowed us to do other things. We're up 5 points of material and his knight has nowhere to go. No matter what he does with his rooks, he can't even infiltrate. He doesn't even have control over his side of the board. So he attacks the knight, which, doesn't do anything. And now we're still threatening checkmate. He could delay it, by taking the knight, but it's still going to be checkmate. So he takes a pawn instead, and now we can just deliver the checkmate. So that was a decent game by 1,040 something, or 1,080. So we have a 94%er. The Pirc is kind of hard to play, but we did fine. We developed in center. And now this is pure development. Development in center. And now we retreat our knight. You could also take. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine because after you take, even if he takes with the knight, you can hop your knight into the center. And as long as your knight has a central square, you're good to go. And because it's defended by the queen and you're contesting his knight, he doesn't get anything by doing this. I just tried to go a different route. This is also good because it attacks the dark squares and even threatens to continue. Force move, even game. Playable by both sides, but I like black's position. King safety. And then from this point forward, black is slightly better and then just goes on to be winning. So from here, black's position is just better onwards. So it's good visually to take in what's happening. Improving move for free. Develop and center, minus 1.3. Development, center for free. And they say this is a blunder. Wow. Because immediately I'm going to get a good attack on his king with the moves that I had mentioned. So we improve this piece for free. And it's minus 3. So black's position is already winning. So it may not look like it's here visually. It may look even, like it's an opposite side castling fight. So try to, calibrate your brain to match, so that visually you get used to evaluations, right? By what you see on the board, and that way you can adjust during your games. You know how you're doing as the game goes on. Because if you don't know how you're doing and you don't know how, it's very weird to play. Anyway, he attacks my queen, and you have lots of different options. What is the best? It's all the same evaluation. If whether you take the queen or go down my route, which is then I'm happy I went down my route because if they're equally good, I'd rather go for the keep the queens on the board line. It's minus 5.6. We now, I mean, we're fully developed. You could definitely put a rook here, definitely. But if you have free moves, you could also do that. It's up to you. This looks like a free move. It also threatens the knight, so we throw it in. And then we improve for free with unstoppable threats. Free stuff, minus 8. Free stuff, minus 11. And then we just look for a checkmate. Down here, we notice the king has no escape. I looked for some knight checks, but when he goes here, I mean, there's nothing. So you just kind of have to open this A file up, which is what we do, and it's mate. Hopefully you enjoyed that game. Good luck in your chess.